And you can see it looks pretty ominous out there. Some low clouds, not raining here at the moment, but look at the temperature. 62 degrees right now at 11 o'clock at night on Christmas Eve. That is remarkable. Another cell just now moving into Hummelstown and Hershey, and more activity just to the south of Lebanon. Further to the south, some additional cells trying to form over central York County. And good evening, everybody. Most of us not seeing storms yet, but we are starting to see a few pop now, and one of them has turned severe. Let's show you the radar right now. It's mainly all about this storm over north central Franklin County right now, just to the north and west of Shippensburg. Large hail, damaging wind gusts are possible with this storm as it continues to travel into far western Cumberland County. Flooding certainly possible. And we can't forget that we have that tornado watch in effect during the overnight as well. We could see some additional light accumulation into tomorrow morning. So it's really all about between now and 8 o'clock. Watch for that heavy snow as it moves on in. Storm total 8 to 14 inches expected for much of the viewing area.
It'll be difficult to see out there in some spots right there with that snow coming down the way that it is.
Yeah, it's just coming down too fast to really treat the roads. And if you clear something off, it's just going to be covered again within seconds. It's that kind of snowfall right out there. We go closer to Front Street, and it's already now starting to pick back up, and I'm talking about large snowflakes. And even at our station in uptown Harrisburg, it was snowing very heavily. None of these days are going to be washouts, and I think by late Sunday, which is the 4th of July, most if not all of us are going to be dry. So there will still be plenty of opportunity to get outside this weekend. So Amanda, we're going to be adding many more 90-degree days, it appears, in our near future.
That would only be fitting for July.
Absolutely. It's been a hot summer, and guess what? It's going to continue. What is not typical, though, is what's happening across the West Coast right now. Let's take you there, where we're expecting high temperatures today well into the triple digits. And you can see those heaviest rain bands are still just to the south of St. Petersburg. But again, notice down towards Bradenton, Sarasota, Venice, right along or just east of I-75. That's where we're seeing those torrential downpours. So, Michelle, the first half of the next 7 days look very warm, very summer-like at times, but it does look like toward the end of next week, we are going to get another cool shot.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Addis.
And that's the funny thing about tornadoes. You know, sometimes they'll drop down, they'll destroy one home, and then it'll skip the rest of them. Now, it's really been their winter so far, and Pittsburgh getting over 26 inches of snow this month, making it their second snowiest December on record.
Right.
And 9th snowiest month on record. Obviously, in this kind of setup where you have very light precipitation, borderline temperatures, you're not going to see major issues on the highways. Thanks, guys, very much. Of course, it's that time of year now to be thankful, but it's also the time of year where we have to think about those who maybe need a little help. So we're here at the Farm Show Complex, and I have Amy Hill from the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank, and that's going to give you the opportunity to view 3 planets and the moon close together. Starting tonight through Saturday night, if you look up into the western sky, you'll be able to see the waxing crescent moon passing by 3 planets. First by Venus tonight. Now remember, dew point is a measure of how much water vapor or moisture we have in the atmosphere. Anytime this number is under 60, under 55, it's comfortable. The pressure continues to fall, and that plane continues to investigate. So we'll see if there's any further upgrades that will hit Cancun tonight. In 2005, we set the record for total number of tropical systems at 28. So far this season, we're at 27, with still several more weeks to go in hurricane season. Borderline oppressive today as dew points climb close to 70. And then as we head into the early part of the work week, dew points do drop off a bit. It's only moving at about 2 miles per hour. Now think about that. Most of us can walk faster than 2 miles per hour. Some drying starting to show up there in the upper levels. We're going to slowly clear out and go from an overcast sky to mostly cloudy. If we could get storms to fire up, they were going to rotate rather easily. Just because they're rotating does not mean it's producing a tornado, but of course it's something we just got to keep a very close eye on. Bigger storm of concern right now is this one moving into western Juniata County, moving southeastward. This was a thick, heavy, wet snow that fell today, and now there is a glaze and I should say even layer of ice on top of that snow. Further to the south, Hanover, Waynesboro, Chambersburg, Gettysburg, those places saw the snow start much earlier.
This is Beyond the Forecast with your most accurate local meteorologists.
And welcome into the Digital Now Center, everybody. I'm meteorologist Juklo here to talk about tonight's rain that we're going to get from, believe it or not, the remnants of what was Hurricane Delta. But if that low shifts off to the north and east by just maybe 100 or 200 miles, well, guess what? That band is then mainly a Poconos and northern New Jersey and New England kind of event. Lebanon camera, some of the side streets there as the intensity picks up. that's when we start to see a fresh coating of snow on some surfaces. 9 o'clock in the morning, we're still going to be dealing with some light showers in the area. It's not out of the question that the rain even exits by then, though we'll keep watching trends. That's when I think we'll likely see the steadier accumulation, probably when we'll start to rack up over 1, 2, maybe some places by tonight approaching 3 inches. Down further south, that's where we had some reports of even up to 6 inches of rain, and it really is mostly across Lancaster County where we had some flooding reports. The center is now well inland. We're still seeing a lot of these bands feed on northward, so places that have been seeing rain since last night are still seeing a lot of rain right now. Is wind shear, the change of wind with height. So this can be wind speed, wind direction, but the stronger that we have that change with height, the more spin that's available in the atmosphere. And we do have a storm report that's just come in from Huntington County of thunderstorm wind damage. Numerous trees reported down on Covered Bridge Road. What we are looking at here is velocity. So where you see this bright red signature, that is wind moving this way. Where you see the greens and the grays there, that's wind moving as we call inbound. So the tornado would be right in there. So basically this circulation is now centered just to the east of Halifax. All these counties here shaded in pink, that's a severe thunderstorm watch. So the entire mid-state remains in a severe thunderstorm watch through this evening. That means be on guard. The conditions are there to support a few severe thunderstorms directly southeast toward places like Tower City. So putting a track on that here, fear not, Sacramento, Tower City, Gold Mine. This tornadic thunderstorm is moving in your direction. If you live anywhere in northern Dauphin County and western Lebanon County, so basically Jonestown points west, you want to make sure that you're in a safe place.
And if you've already started your spring gardening, you're going to want to hear what meteorologist Juklo has to say now.
It's been a very warm and dry spring so far in central PA, but it's important to remember that our average last frost or freeze happens around April 21st every year. With the expected big drop in temperature, I drove down to Streit's Orchard to find out what kind of impact that could have on vegetation here in the mid-state. When looking for conditions that are harmful to plants and crops, it's not just the temperature, but also the duration of freezing temperatures and how far below freezing it gets.
If it gets to below 32 degrees for an hour, you're not going to have much damage. But if it gets below there starting at midnight, and you have all morning, that you're going to have some significant damage.
Winds are a factor too. High winds prevent frost but can make a freeze worse. Similar to how humans react to the wind chill, a cold wind blowing across plants can suck the moisture right out of them and beat up tender young leaves.
We like to say you want to harden them off before you set them outside. You got to keep in mind that these plants are coming from a greenhouse where it's a perfect environment, perfect temperature, no wind, out into the open where they're just vulnerable to everything. So you want to get them as tough as possible before you actually do plant them out in your garden.
The good news is with the recent warm and sunny afternoons, the ground is also warm, which will help in protecting your plants.
Because the thermal heat that's trapped within the ground will help to keep the surrounding air around those plants just a little bit warmer and keep them from freezing out.
For the more sensitive outdoor plants and crops like tomatoes and peppers, it's best to wait until consistent nights of no cooler than 50 degrees. If you have already planted them, make sure that prior to a potential freeze, you water them well, cover them completely, and do it before sundown to prevent as much heat loss as possible. And the good news for our plants and those of you that don't like cold weather, this cold shot is brief. By this weekend, we're back into the 60s, and by next week, high temperatures will be back into the 70s. For ABC 27 News, I'm meteorologist Juklo.